Boy, she hasn't worked free since the day she was born. And even then, she charged the doctor because he had a front row seat.
Do I deserve this? 21 shows with him and I still get treated like this, huh? I don't understand. Well, anyway, you know what?
Yeah.
We just think we're simply, we just think we're simply, we just think we're simply great.
Boodly bum.
Talk about improv, huh? That's all we know. I'm gonna take this opportunity now. Do you wanna stay here and listen to me sing? You're not gonna leave me, are you? I get insecure without you. Okay.
For your friend, or you want this?
Yeah, he'll probably need it. Okay, I'd like to introduce to you a friend of mine named Dirk Godby, and he's gonna come here. Yeah, great, and we're gonna sing a couple songs that we wrote. There's a. Take this. Thank you.
From the Warriors. The Warriors really appreciate that you're here. And the second of the 503rd is really proud that we can count on you.
Now, wait a minute. These are from each one of you individually, right? Thank you. Okay, we're going to do two songs for you. The one that maybe some of you may have seen the other night at the show we can't do, but there's two songs that both Dirk and I we wrote together, and we're just going to wing it and do them for you. So.
Night time on the mountain is a cowboy's dream, running wild and free in the country I have seen. Clear water, streams, and green grass, old places in my heart, but no one will ever know how much I hurt when we're apart.
The lazy city rain after the sun goes down, a rush hour subway train on its way downtown, laughing and dancing down the street with my friends, but no one will ever know how much I long to see you again.
I can see the moon riding the clouds across the lonesome pine.
I can see it too, cradled in the skyline. Same old moon shining on this lady,
Shining on this cowboy tonight. It's the same old moon shining on the prairie,
shining down on New York City so bright. With you so far away from me, we're touching with the memory. But someday I'll be holding you underneath the same old moon, same old moon. Tomorrow I'll be flying to LA, the city where dreams passes over the mountain, I'll look down and think of you.
In the morning I'll be riding out across the rim rock through the sage. I know that I'll be thinking about all the plans that we've made.
It's the same old moon shining on this lady,
Shining on this cowboy tonight. It's the same old moon shining on the prairie,
shining down on New York City so bright. With you so far away from me, we're touching with a memory. But someday I'll be holding you underneath the same old moon, same old moon, same old moon.
We're spoiled. I mean, it's the best audience you could ever imagine. They're so appreciative and willing, and you can really feel when the audience is on your side, and we feel like we're on the same side.
You sort of feel at home here?
Oh, I do. I've been lucky enough to be with Mr. Hope on shows like this, and I was Miss USO for a year, so I've been affiliated, and I'm really glad that it all worked out, that we could come here, and if it brought just a smile or a little bit of happiness, I feel happy.
he left his home, headed out on his own, looking for the city lights and some place to play at night. He had a dream, too far away it seemed, that all he wanted most of all was just to hear a curtain call.
The years went by, and he continued to try, but the times were slow, and his age started to show. Where once was a young man, now just a guitar and wrinkled hands. All he wanted most of all was just to hear a curtain call. He wanted to hear his name out loud and see the faces in the crowd. He wasn't asking for much at all, but just to hear a curtain call.
Well, he died at an old age without setting foot on the stage.
Now the singers play his songs, and everybody sings along. Still with his name unknown, along with him his dreams are gone. All he wanted most of all was just to hear a curtain call. He wanted to hear his name out loud and see the faces in the just to hear a curtain call. He wanted to hear his name out loud and see the faces in the crowd. He wasn't asking for much at all, but just to hear a curtain call.
Baby. Thank you. How about that girl, huh? She's something else. I have done, or she has done 21 of my shows, starting when she was 15. And I wanted to adopt her, but her mother won't go for it. Isn't that true?
That's definitely true. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, I mean, I've been really lucky. Mr. Hope has taken good care of me all my life, basically. And I am a lot to handle, I'll have you know.
Taking good care of you.
We were in...
That's the nicest thing anybody said about me lately, that I took good care of them.
We were in Beirut together, and during the Christmas, we had a Christmas show, and we were on the USS Independence, and the unfortunate for us, not unfortunate for everybody else, but I don't think anyway, they lost all of our costumes and all of our luggage. The only thing that we had was stockings and high heels. And so we didn't know what to do, so we had to we borrowed some extra large shirts. And see, Bob didn't know this. And it was Ann Jillian, Julie Hayek, who was Miss USA, and myself, and Kathy Lee Crosby also. And we were all, we had no wardrobe. All we had were high heels and black stockings. And so I just said, hey, girls, you know, this is it.
It was the best show we ever had.
Well, he didn't know it, really. He didn't know it. And
Best show we ever had.
Yeah, yeah, he said this now. He was standing up on stage, and I said, let's just do it. So we put the high heels on, the stockings, and these shirts that came to about here. And we walked on stage. Really? They were about... and we entered on, he said, and he's whispering to me, he goes, you can't go in there like this, you can't, get back there, you gotta put some pants, put some clothes on. I said, sorry, Bob, this is it. We all got here, and they loved it. They liked it. It was great. Thank you all for having us, for suffering with us and listening to us. And okay, I'm going to leave. And I speak on behalf of everybody. We love you, and we're praying for you. And thanks a lot.
Don't say too much. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, baby. She is something. She is something else. She did a show for the president at the White House just about 3 weeks ago. That's the big thing today, you know. It used to be you were invited to the palace in New York with a high spot, but now if you're invited to the White House, that's the big thing. And Reagan treats us all nice because he's an actor, you know. In fact, I think he's a better actor now than when he was in Hollywood. No, but he is. He's nice. We did our birthday show at the Kennedy Center about 3 or 4 years ago, and he was so damn nice. Let me stay at the White House, and I slept in Lincoln's room, in Lincoln's bed. I felt like a live $5 bill, I'll tell you. And it's eerie sleeping in that room. There's so much history connected with it, you know. In fact, in the middle of the night, I heard a voice say, how did the play end? No, but it's true, and he's a nice guy. He was our governor, you know. He's had a tough time. That's a tough job. Geez, I don't care what you say. That president, you know, he's been shot at, and God, he had that cancer thing in his thing, then he had that thing in his stomach, and then he had that that operation way down there, you know. In fact, he had that twice, once to get rid of Sam Donaldson, you know. No, but that's a rough one. But they liked him in the hospital. In fact, they gave him a bedpan with Gaddafi's picture on it. No, you know how most... remember when President Johnson was operating and went around and showed everybody his scar? I'm glad Reagan doesn't do that. No, that's a nasty operation. It's very scary. One slip and you're the first lady. Hey, Jeff, shall we do a little buttons and bows for this group? Come on. This... What is that, the soccer team? What the hell is that? This is a little number I do when I do a concert or anything. It's a little number from a picture I made called Paleface. It's buttons and bows, and I hope you enjoy this. Yeah. This is a little picture I made with Jane Russell. I made this picture with Jane Russell. I got third billing. Wait a minute, I want to try a joke here. This doctor called this patient and said, I have some bad news and some terrible news for you. And the patient said, what's the bad news? The doctor said, you got 48 hours to live. And he said, well, what's the terrible news? He said, I've been trying to find you for 2 days. Play. This is a parody on the original Buttons and Bows. I hope you like. Wait a minute, I got another joke. This guy went to the doctor and he said, I'm having a lot of trouble. My wife's losing all her sexual desire. If you could give me, said the doctor, said, don't say another word. I have just what you need. You take these pills and slip a couple into her food. You'll have the results you desire. So the guy took the pills and he was driving home and he said, hell, if it'll help her that much, I could use a little help myself. So he took a couple. Went home, had dinner with his wife, slipped a couple into her food. They went to bed about 2 a.m. in the morning. She woke up. She said, I want a man. He said, so do I. Play it. All right, we'll sing. Wait a minute, I want to tell one more. This guy had 2 black eyes, and somebody said, where'd you get the black eyes? And the guy said, well, I went to this party, and this girl got up out of a chair, and she had her dress caught in the back, in her upper thigh, and it didn't look good, so I pulled it out, and she bopped me. He said, well, what about the other eyes? Same thing. He said, a little later in the night, she got up out of a chair again, she had her dress caught in the back, in her upper thigh, and this guy next to me pulled it out, and I knew she didn't like it that way, so I put it back in. Okay. One more. All right. This guy called his house. He said, I want to speak to my wife. And the maid says, she's up in the bedroom. He said, go up and tell her I want to talk to her. Went up, she came down, said, she's up there with a man. The guy said, in my bedroom? I suspected something like this. I want you to get my gun. You know what it is. Go up there and kill them both, or I'll come home and kill you. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Called back in 5 minutes. Said, you do it? She said, well, I went upstairs, but they both ran outside, and I shot them both, and they fell in the pool. The guy said, the pool? What number is this? All right, I'll say. One more? Okay, wait, hold on. How'd I get? This time, I haven't looked lately. This woman took the husband of the doctor. Now he's very, very ill. And he went in the doctor's office. She waited in the anteroom. The doctor examined him, came out. She went in to get the results. She said, how is he? The doctor said, I'll tell you how he is. This man's very sick. He has to have 3 hot meals a day and sex every night, or he's not going to make it. And she went out in the anteroom, and the husband said, what'd he say? She said, you're going to die. I was one of many boys just helped to add to mother's woes. They couldn't afford a plastic surgeon, so all day long they'd stare at my nose, then cover it up with buttons and bows. Then one night, it was Halloween, dressed myself in sister's clothes. All the tough kids round my neighborhood said, we think he's one of those. He acts so sweet in buttons and bows. I have a joke. One of these fellas walked into a bar with a big mastiff dog. He walked up to the bartender and says, I'd like a scotch and soda. And the bartender looked at him and said, we don't serve your type in here. He says, you better serve this type or I'll have this dog jump over the bar and destroy you. Bartender said, it still goes, we don't serve your type. And the fella said, sick him. And the dog jumped over the bar, pinned the bartender against the mirror and said, bowsy wowsy. When I was 4, Dad took me swimming, threw me in, made me swim back. Oh, I didn't mind the swim so much, it was getting out of the sack. These 2 Texas cowboys went to a dance. They parked their horses outside, and one left early, wanted to play a trick on his friend, so he put his saddle on backwards. And they met the next day, and the guy that left early said, boy, what a dance last night. The guy that left late said, yeah, but I had a hell of a time getting home. You know, I went outside and got on my horse, and you know that somebody had cut my horse's head off? He said, if I hadn't held my finger over his windpipe, we'd have never made it home. That's a Warrior special. The more I grew, the more I knew, and the family records showed. Time I turned 19, I knew that the bucks were bucks, the does were does, and I shouldn't wear those buttons and bows. Thank you very much. You know, let me tell you something. I hope you enjoy the show. There's 50 years on NBC. I tell you, it's really been something. When I went with them, that's radio and television. When I went with them in 38, they were #1. Then when they went down to #3, and now they're back to #1 again. And NBC is so happy. In fact, the other day at the affiliates meeting, they all got down on their knees and thanked the Almighty. And Bill Cosby said, you're welcome. No, but it said, I tell you, if I'd known they were going to be around this long, I would have bought them. I just hope, and then I'm going into my 51st year next year, and I just hope they don't have me, you know, sell condoms, that's all. Because that's what they're doing, you know. They're doing it all over the place. God, I tell you. Hell, I didn't even know what they are. I never called them that. Mine were made by Goodyear. Anyway. No, it's true. And they have them for senior citizens too. They're made by Suppos. And let me tell you, no, but it's true. I didn't know, but in fact, this kid was going over to see his girl, and he stopped at the drugstore and bought a couple of condoms. And he went over there, and he went in, and his kid's father said, his girl's father said, you want to have dinner? He said, yeah. He sat down. He said, would you like to say grace? And the kid says, I don't mind. So he said grace for about 5 minutes. And when he finished, his girl said, I didn't know you were that religious. And the kid said, yeah, and I didn't know your father was a druggist. Don't let that sneak up on you. It's just been a great kick coming out here. Let's bring Brooke and Gloria up here. Come on up here, take a bow. And we say thanks for the memory. There they are. You stay well, all of you. Hurry home fast.